Did you know about the Tulsa Shock or the San Antonio Silver Stars? The WNBA has had over 20 teams over the last 2 decades. Some of those teams folded, other teams changed cities, but we do have a few of them left from the original 8. We are currently witnessing a 12-team league that will welcome the Golden State Valkyries in the 2025 season and an unnamed Toronto team for the 2026 season. The original 8 teams that debuted for the 1997 WNBA season are the Charlotte Sting, the Cleveland Rockers, the Houston Comets, and the New York Liberty in the Eastern Conference, and the Los Angeles Sparks, Phoenix Mercury, Sacramento Monarchs, and the Utah Stars in the Western Conference. Of the original 8 teams, the New York Liberty, Los Angeles Sparks, and the Phoenix Mercury are the only ones that exist from their original cities. The Utah Stars became the San Antonio Silver Stars in 2003, being a sister team to the San Antonio Spurs, but then became the Las Vegas Aces in 2018. In 1998, the Washington Mystics and the Detroit Shock joined the league, bringing the team's total to 10 for that season. The Detroit Shock became the Tulsa Shock in 2010 and ultimately became the Dallas Wings we know today in 2016. The Minnesota Lynx and the Orlando Miracle joined the WNBA in 1999. The Miracle moved and became the Connecticut Sun in 2003. The Indiana Fever and the Seattle Storm joined the WNBA in the year 2000. The Chicago Sky joined in 2006, and the Atlanta Dream joined in 2008. The Charlotte Sting was one of the original 8 franchises in the WNBA when the league debuted in 1997. Based in Charlotte, the Sting were originally the sister organization to the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlottes had players like Vicky Bullitt, Monique Curry, Charlotte Smith, and All-Star USC coach Don Staley. In December of 2006, Bobcat Sports and Entertainment turned the ownership of the team over to the WNBA, citing low attendance in Charlotte and loss of revenue, despite just building a new arena. An investment team in Kansas City was interested in moving the team, but ultimately the plans fell through. In January of 2007, the team folded and the players went to other teams in the league via a dispersal draft. Dispersal drafts were pretty common in the early 2000s there. Every time a team folded, eventually there would have to be a dispersal draft where all the players from that folding team would be placed in the draft where the other teams could pick in their ordered turn. But obviously that's going to lead to lost jobs, less players, less games. The Cleveland Rockers were also one of the original 8 teams. They got their nickname from Cleveland's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they were also the sister team of the Cleveland Cavaliers. In 2002, the Rockers' ownership decided to buy the team from the WNBA, seemingly ensuring the Rockers' future. However, despite fielding competitive teams and having decent attendance for most games, the ownership decided they did not wish to operate the Rockers after the 2003 season, citing a lack of revenue and lackluster attendance. No local ownership was found for the team. The Sacramento Monarchs were a part of the original 8 teams, and they were a sister team to the Sacramento Kings. After winning the championship in 2005, the Monarchs became the first women's professional team to appear on a Wheaties box. After a 12-year run, the ownership group decided they could no longer run the team. In 2009, there were plans to move the team to 2 different cities, but a deal could not be done, and so the remaining players were dispersed in a dispersal draft. 2 short-lived teams in the WNBA that definitely had locked-in fan bases, the Miami Soul and the Portland Fire. Both were expansion teams starting in the year 2000 and pretty much ending around the same time in 2002. The Soul were based out of Miami and ended up being a sister team for the Miami Heat, very popular with the Hispanic population. Citing the inability to raise enough funds to continue operation under the WNBA's new restructuring agreement, the organization ceased operations in November of 2002. The Portland Fire had a little bit more hope, an expansion team that were the sister team of the Portland Trail Blazers. This was the only team to fold without making the playoffs. They had a little bit of hope there with Rookie of the Year Jackie Stiles, but ultimately, the ownership group could not afford to keep the team and a deal could not be made elsewhere. The team disbanded and both the Soul and Portland Fire players will be placed in a spring dispersal draft. And last but definitely not least, the Houston Comets. They were one of the original 8 teams and came out the gate hot, winning the first 4 championships of the league's existence, literally becoming the league's first dynasty. Led by legendary players such as Cheryl Swoops, Tina Thompson, and Cynthia Cooper, the Comets were a powerhouse on the court and a source of pride to the city of Houston. Financial difficulties ultimately led to the team's demise in 2008. The WNBA began running the Comets after ownership decided to put the team up for sale. Because a deal could not be made, one of the greatest teams in WNBA history disbanded in 2008. Counting the original 8 teams, the few team name changes and location changes, and all the defunct teams, the WNBA has had a total of 23 teams. So if you happen to have a San Antonio Stars jersey or a Tulsa Shock jersey, definitely hold on to that prized possession. I would love to see a few teams come back for the WNBA. Not necessarily come back, but just give some of the fan bases a team to root for on the W side of things. A team in Miami, seeing as Florida had 2 teams, they definitely had a fan base for it. I think Charlotte, Cleveland, and Houston would be some very key fan bases for a WNBA team. There's so much talent in the league with 2 teams coming in the next couple of years. That's, more games for the fans, more jobs for the players, a little more stability for the league overall. It definitely has our attention. It's exciting to see where the league will go now with its popularity. I don't see any teams disbanding, even if their ownership teams are done. I definitely think in this day and age, some city will pick it up, some ownership group will pick it up, especially with all the athletes and stars that just want to be involved, not just in the W, but in sports in general. Along with the Golden State Valkyries and the unnamed team in Toronto, Canada, they've also been talking about bringing back a team in Portland. I'm not sure it will be the Portland Fire, but it's still a good fan base up there. That's an exciting move for them there. I still think they need another team out east. Adding more teams and expanding the league is very exciting. Today, I know a lot of these cities would love another sports team to root for and cheer for. So while we remember and respect the teams of the past and the teams that have moved cities, we're excited to look forward on the teams of the future.